Good morning, viewers. Myself, Dr. Ravi Shankar, working as Associate Professor in KLEF deemed to be University in the Department of CSC Honors. In this session, I would like to introduce cognitive computing, which is a subject as a regular, and the introduction of cognitive system, cognitive computing, cognitive science, almost all these three terms are identical, which is a branch of artificial intelligence. The aim of the session to familiarize the students with the basic concept of cognitive computing system. What is cognitive computing means the meaning, and also what are the objectives for this session. This session is designed to demonstrate human-centered cognitive cycle and also the methods of cognitive science described in a neat manner. And what are the features of cognitive computing? Similarly, description to representation and computation. After completion of the session, student learn the outcomes like the meaning or the definition of cognitive science and detailed description of paradigms of cognitive science, and finally overall summarize the essence of cognitive science in real life. Coming to the introduction, when it was evolved, cognitive computing or cognitive systems, cognitive science. This session is to comprehend the purpose of cognitive science and solving real-time problems by making the system to think like human being. We know from the definition of artificial intelligence, which the origins from 1950, the year 1950, which the first test made by Alan Turing, so-called Turing test. The test includes two different rooms. In one room human being is sitting, and another room system is there, mathematical engine, which invented by the Charles Babbage, who is the father of computer. The interrogation session going between the human being and the system, but the same time human being doesn't know the second room, maybe he or she is a human being who is talking with. That is the origin of artificial intelligence. So 1950 to 1980 year, the duration 30 years, 3 decades, completely artificial intelligence. Later from 1980 to 2010, that is almost all 3 decades and more than that, the machine learning, which is a branch of artificial intelligence. From 2010 to till now, we are in the era of deep learning and also natural language processing and also cognitive systems, this cognitive science. So real-time problems can be solved by making the system to think like human being. Think like human being is a phrase coined from the AI, one of the definition. AI definition, so many definitions are there given by several scientists, but all the definitions stated by them are categorized from the 4. One is amongst is a think like human. which is also in our cognitive science to solve the problems, complex or simple problems. Act like human, that is the second category. And third category is think rationally. And finally, fourth one is act rationally. So, think like human, act like human, think rationally, act rationally. From these four categories of the AI derived after so many definitions. What is cognitive systems? Cognitive systems are oriented toward human skills and capabilities. Already nowadays we are using all digital computers, most of them, and also in the form of desktop, laptops or workstations, servers, whatever it may be. They are having the capable like thinking power like humanly, and so many computations in the fraction of seconds, picoseconds, nanoseconds they are performing. Such a way we are giving instructions or programs or coding towards computer systems. And most of the systems nowadays having the self decision making systems. They can perceive and understand things, draw conclusions and learn. They can also dependably react to unexpected events. So these are the major points from this slide. We can have some idea what is the cognitive systems. Not only these 3 points, and also cognitive science means what? The interdisciplinary study of mind and intelligence. The study of cognitive processes involved in the acquisition, representation and use of human knowledge. Means already we discussed just now related to human knowledge. Imparting our knowledge means the brain, how our mind and brain thinking, the thinking capacity or capability we are imparting, exchanging the ideas to the system already, and acquiring the knowledge and representing the knowledge. What are the different representations of knowledge? As we know, there is a prerequisite for this cognitive system or cognitive computing subject, which are in the form of predicate logic, proposition logic, and also scripts, frames, semantic web, all are involved to represent knowledge. Symbolic representations are those are converted to FOPL, first order predicate logic, which are in turn is called as WFF, well formed formulas. So our one of the programming language, artificial languages are there. First and foremost, 2 languages are there. One is a Prolog language, another one is a Lisp language. Prolog, programming in logic, the expansion of Prolog. Similarly, Lisp, LISP, Lisp means list processing, which is a applicative or functional programming language. Prolog language completely comprises of rules. Those rules are coined from our FOPL, well formed formulas, first order predicate logic. That's why the Prolog is so called rule based language. So the scientific study of the mind, the brain and intelligent behavior, whether in humans, animals, machines, or the abstract psychological perception along with reasoning. From these points we can easily understood what is the cognitive science. Actually, what is the cognition? The term is taken from the Latin base, which means in English language know together. Cognition. Co means togetherness. The collection of mental processes and activities used in perceiving, learning, remembering, thinking, and understanding the act of using those processes. Cognition, generally in English, know together, and also people think like cognito, to know. Co means together, as I said. Gnos here means know. Cognitive processes involve, the processes are several types. Out of them are 6 are the major things. The processes, one amongst is the learning and memory. Human being from the childhood learning at different levels, different aspects. Below the 5 years age, we are imitating or we are learning from our parents. Then after going to school, everybody has to know the knowledge of the corresponding subject and how the teacher behaves, how the moral values are learnt with others, from others. After few years, we are learning by mistakes, learning through experience, rote learning. Different types of learning techniques are there. Here reading, from reading also we can learn, reading from books, reading from different search engines, writing, listening, verbally communicating, and memory, storing in our brain. Some years. Thinking and reasoning, another process, which is the second one in the chronological order. Planning, decision making, problem solving. Language. The computer system only understood machine level language, but we are having plenty of programming languages categorized in several ways. Either those programming languages falls under compilation or interpretation or hybrid implementation. So programming languages have their own syntax and semantics. Whatever the program you are writing with the collection of instructions can convert finally to the machine understandable code in zeros and ones form. So the language is processed. That's why one of the branch in our AI, artificial intelligence, is the NLP, natural language processing. Extensible vocabulary is a cognitive process enabled by human intelligence. Vision, perception. Meeting social challenges by leveraging technologies like smart city building, reserving water resources. And fifth process for cognitive is a social cognition, which refers to how people deal with the conspecifies, members of the same species, or even across species such as a pet. And finally, the cognitive process involves in the dreaming and consciousness. From this slide, we are able to know cognitive processes: learning and memory, thinking and reasoning, language, vision, perception, social cognition, and dreaming and consciousness. What are the disciplines in cognitive science? Computer science in the form of artificial intelligence, neuroscience, psychology, it is having a part cognitive psychology, philosophy, linguistics, anthropology, education. We will discuss one by one of our disciplines in the cognitive science. First one is computer science, artificial intelligence. And as we know, the computer science and AI, I pointed out earlier, neuroscience, which is a collection of neurons formed as a network, neural networks, combined with artificial neural network, which is having synapse and lexons, neurons are there. Psychology, philosophy, linguistics, which is belongs to languages and the NLP, natural language processing, anthropology and education. Coming to the paradigms of cognitive science, computational representational understanding of mind. Mind is what? Mind is a mental representation and combined with the computational processes. Computational theory of mind, which is a duplicating mind by implementing the right program. Methods of cognitive science. There are several methods of cognitive science or cognitive computing or cognitive systems, whatever you can call, preceded with the term cognitive, which the system having that cognitive is a cognitive system. The science is a knowledge where that system having cognitive science, cognitive system. Computational modeling is the first method, which involves in the form of artificial intelligence, computational neuroscience, cognitive psychology. Experimentation is in the form of psychology, linguistics, neuroscience combination. Introspection, argumentation, formal logic, which is in turn involves in philosophy and linguistics. Mathematical modeling. The modeling is in the form of several mathematical formulas in terms with the constructing the architecture or an abstract. Finally, we can call it a model, which is a cognitive psychology, linguistics, philosophy. Finally, the method is ethnography, is a cognitive anthropology. Cognitive anthropology. What is a cognitive modeling? A model is a simplified representation of reality. Simplified representation means it should be formal model. Formal model. It's an abstract, is also called as a model. Backbone of model is an abstract or architecture also. Cognitive system also having architecture. We will discuss in the next coming session what is the architecture of cognitive system. So cognitive modeling is a create a formal means what? With mathematical, algorithmic, symbolic representation of cognitive process. Then use these models to predict or explain behavior associated with those cognitive processes. Computational modeling. The models usually implemented as computer programs with output corresponding to the predicted behavior. Example of cognitive process: categorizing objects into groups, modeling, use decision trees or neural networks or rules, etc. Viewers, I am concluding this session 1 related to the introduction to the cognitive systems. So we are able to understand, or the outcome of this session 1 is what is a cognitive science, what is a cognitive system, what is the origins for this cognitive computing, and what is a model, cognitive model, how the mind similar to human being with other philosophy, psychology, linguistics elements are the components of cognitive system involved in that. Thank you for watching this session 1 video.